What's up, everyone? We have a Stihl BR600 here that the owner replaced the carburetor on because it wasn't starting. Now it's not running. So this is going to be what happens if you replace the carburetor and it still isn't running. I don't really know anything about it. I literally picked it up a couple minutes ago. I shoved it on the table and we are here. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that it is installed correctly. So I'm going to take off this cover, which is going to require taking off the pull cord or the mechanism, and as well as the air filter cover. So I'm going to take that off, and then we'll look and see how it looks, and if it looks good, then we'll continue on. Immediately I noticed this is definitely not an OEM carb. This is most definitely a aftermarket. Let's see if everything throttles, and everything throttles, so that's good. Let's see, does it prime? It does appear to prime. I don't really see anything yelling out. Let's see if these are tight. I mean, they weren't like super tight, but they also weren't loose. I didn't see a gap either. Yeah, no, I don't see that being a problem. Now, this is a 600, so it has valves. You have to remove this plate. So let's go ahead and remove the plate. Not that direction. I forget, is there another? Oh, there is one's down here. Okay, I'm gonna have to loosen up a few other things. It's just kind of stuck in there. Spark plug is brand new, except it's a HIPAA plug. I'm not really a fan of that, but it works. Well, I guess we don't know that. In theory, they should work. These are the valves. Now, more likely than not, these are going to be fine, but a starting problem could very well be bad valve adjustment, and it might have, now you need a new carburetor. So I don't hear anything horrible in there, so that's good. But let's put one of these down. So that valve is down. Let's get our feeler gauge, and let's, wow, that is super loose, like super loose. That could have been a lot of our problem right there. So we take either an 8mm or 5/16. I'm going to use a 5/16 driver. I'll tighten that up a little bit. You know what? It helps if you actually do tighten it. Okay, so right now, I like to take the driver off just in case, but there is almost a perfect amount of slack on that one. This is a 4000s, and if you don't know, you're supposed to buy, at least Stihl would love for you to buy their feeler, but if you just go online, buy a cheap little set and alter it, does exactly the same thing. So this one actually feels a tad on the tight end. There we go. Maybe a hair more. There we go. Perfect. So I think there's going to be one final thing we're going to look at, and that is going to be the spark arrestor. Now, we're just checking everything because we want to make sure that we have everything taken care of, and since we have the cover off, we already have a lot of our hindrance of checking this taken apart, so there's no point of not checking it right now. I looked at it earlier. It really doesn't seem too horrible, but you know, I just saw the front end. Maybe towards the beginning part of the chamber, it's pretty nasty. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not perfect, but more than enough air and exhaust and anything can go through there, so I don't think that's a problem. I'm still going to clean it because I already have it off, and why not? And then I'm going to go ahead and put it all back together, and then we'll give it a pull and see if what we did finished it or fixed it, or if we still have a couple additional problems. Real quick piece of advice. On top of the valve cover, there's this tiny little washer, and if you have the plug removed like we did to easily spin the motor, this thing loves to fall in there. So put the plug in that way in case, I don't know, it slips or falls down or something. I mean, yeah, there's an infinite amount of directions it could go, but majority of the time it will just go directly towards that because, well, that's just how lucky you are. One of the final things I wanted to check was the fuel. How much is in there? What's it look like? And let's just say it looks pretty bad. So fuel was not changed out. In addition to that, we're going to be doing a couple things. Actually, just one. We put new fuel in there. I guess it is a couple. So it's good new fuel. In addition to that, we need to tune it. Now, depending on the carb that you end up buying, you're going to have to get an adjustment driver, and it comes in a pack of like 8 or 10, and find the one that looks like it. The one in particular that we are needing is a hexagon one, and that just goes into the little needles, adjustment needles. It turns it, boom, done. The reason why we need to do this is I'm pretty sure I can count on 3 fingers how many times I bought a carb like this that was adjustable and it was set correctly. They never are. I mean, just look where they have to be sold, higher elevations, and it's just, you can't. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this. We'll try turning it on, and we'll hopefully start adjusting it, and we'll be good. If not, then we probably have bigger problems. Now, even I can't see to adjust it majority of the time, so it's going to be a little difficult for that to really be shown. Just know the needle that's closest to the intake is the low. I just shove it in there, and then I can't see it. It's all by feel. I don't know where it's at. We could be adjusting a lot. Pretty much just might need new fuel and the valves adjusted. Don't know. Let's give it a try, though. Okay. It's not turned off. Maybe very out of adjustment. Let's go about 3/4 of a turn. Probably too rich, but I suppose full throttle it and see what happens. Something happened. Increase it a little bit, loosening the high, which is the opposite one. So I was getting nothing. I kept on hearing this weird noise, and I wanted to make sure everything seems like it's doing fine. Yeah, but I wanted to check the spark. Without having to take this whole thing apart again. I just connected a wire to a piece of metal and it should work. However, I'm getting no spark off the new plug that was in there, off a plug I know was good. Nothing. So that means the coil's pretty much dead. I'm going to verify that, but I'm going to spin it over one last time, and then I'm going to take off the cover, and I'm going to disconnect the coil from the ground and see if it's just grounding out somewhere, and if it's not, it's the coil. And nothing. So I'm going to take off the cover once again, and then we will test it one more time. It's a day or so later, and I decided we're going to check to see if the kill, I know the light's probably just giving you all kinds of nasty right now, but I want to see if the kill is causing there to be a problem. Maybe there's a break in the line somewhere, I don't know. So let's try to get even a better viewing point, if that's possible. Yeah, pretty decent. So I disconnected the two kills, and let's put it directly on the exhaust. Oh, that was unexpected. Okay. It's like it wants to, but not really. It's really odd. So we could have a bad coil. I do have another one, so we're going to take that off and put a new one on. I did it again, and the only way I can actually see spark is if I am pretty much like fully revving the engine up to a few thousand RPMs with a drill. Anything lower than that, it's not working. So we're going to put the other one on, but that's literally the only way, which is probably the reason why it's having a hard time starting. If there is spark, I can't see it, and well, usually that's something you should be able to see. We have a new coil installed. Let's see. You're not going to see. I'm barely going to see, but I'll tell you. It's definitely a lot more spark. Still took a little bit faster. Actually, let me see how this engine spins. It should be spinning that direction. Yeah. Let's try the other way. I tried both ways in the other time off camera, and there was not anything that was different. Yeah, it's actually better now. So spin in the direction the engine's supposed to spin. So we're good to go. I'm going to put this on, and then we'll see if it runs. I might still have to tune it up. But yeah, we'll take it from there if we need to. Something to also check is this is that plug that the machine came with, and you want to see if the gap in between the electrodes set to 30 thousandths. This one is. If it's too wide, it might not be able to jump the gap from either coil, but this one should be good. Or if it's touching, it's definitely not going to have ability to jump a gap because there is no gap. So before you do any of this, good idea to check the coil gap, the spark plug gap. We are at that point where we can give it a pull. The choke is on, everything should be good. Let's give it a prime or two. Okay, perfect. Maybe half choke. It's not looking happy. Let's put the throttle up a little bit. Oh, now we're having something. Okay, I'm pretty much no space left in my memory card, so I'm gonna get this tuned up and I'll bring it back for the final result. Unfortunately, so there's a backstory. Let's just say yesterday when I started this project, I was suffering from a little bit of hearing loss due to an event that I had gone to, and well, let's just say some of the people I go hang out with are not the most mature. But waited another day, came back. I thought I heard something the entire time. It kind of sounded like rod knock, and I'm right. This has rod knock, so it's trashed. And I took my little camera, shoved it down the plug hole, and I just see scoring galore. I was even surprised it was even running. So this person obviously ran it without any oil in the fuel or didn't use the right oil. I don't know, but it's junk. As of right now, you can buy a short block. They're not all that expensive. They're kind of shady though, because you do have to buy them through eBay, and I don't know about that, but they're about $70 to $80, $90 depending on which one you find. I'm gonna tell the owner, but to be honest, the legit one, after calling the Stihl supply down the street from me, was about $275. This is not worth that, plus what I've already done to it, plus what I would have to do to it. I just don't think it would be. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you're having a hard time with your spark, and I mean, which is odd because we did have no spark pretty much. If you're having a hard time with your spark with these blowers, it's pretty common occurrence. I keep these parts laying around because of that reason. But other than that, I guess you can't save them all. You have a good rest of your day, and follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions about your Stihl BR600 that I didn't address in this, feel free to leave a comment. Be happy to answer them. Have a good night.